get started. I'll go ahead and start off by introducing myself. So, hi everyone, my name is Danny. I'm an admissions advisor. I do currently work with high schools, East Aurora, Leland, and Aurora Christian. And I'll go ahead and let everyone else introduce themselves. I don't know if you want to go first, Scott.
Okay, I'm Scott Hollenbeck, professor of psychology, and I've been teaching at Waubonsee for the last 18 years.
Hi, I'm Heather Lacoste. I've been teaching at Waubonsee full-time for about 20 years, and my background is in social organizational psychology.
Hi, I'm Lisa Fazio Tauk, and I've been teaching there 14, 15 years, and my background is developmental.
Thank you. Just so everyone knows, if you need to turn on closed captioning, you guys can go ahead and do that at the bottom of the screen. And I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can go ahead and get started with everything. As most of you already know, this is going to be a presentation on both psychology and human services. First, we're actually going to start off by doing a bit of an overview on why you guys should take classes with us here at Waubonsee. We're going to cover a few different things: affordability, transferability, flexibility, and support. So the first thing we're going to cover is affordability. Here at Waubonsee, our tuition is $132 per credit, and it makes Waubonsee an exceptional educational value. Our low tuition costs and easy payment options also help keep your costs low. By what you guys can see on the graphic, we are relatively affordable compared to some of the other colleges and universities in the area. The other thing about Waubonsee is that we do offer a lot of student services. We would be able to help students apply for financial aid, and we also help students find and apply for different scholarships. For example, for the 2020 and 2021 academic year, the Waubonsee Community College Foundation Scholarship Program has provided 367 scholarship awards to 325 recipients. We also help students when it comes to transferability and assuring that the classes that they're taking with us will transfer on to their four-year university. We have groups of dedicated counselors and advisors who work one-on-one with each student to make sure that they're taking the right courses for the major that they're looking to take or for the school that they're looking to transfer to. We also offer transfer pathways and partnerships that make sure that your transfer process is relatively smooth. On top of that, we will also work with students to help remove obstacles. A very clear example of that, I would say, is with the way we've been offering courses this year due to COVID going on. So right now we do have a few different flex options for students. So one of them being the ability to take some classes face-to-face, the ability to do online, hybrid, which is a combination of both, sync online through Zoom video calls, or even our newest option, Flex. We also we will also assess prior learning and college credit. So if you are a student who is coming in with previous college credit that they would like to transfer in so that they don't have to retake a class, that is an option for you. We also have a wide array of support services like free tutoring and tech support that are available for all of our students if at any point you are taking classes with us and you feel like you might need a little bit of extra help. All right, so with that being said, I'll go ahead and pass it along so we can start off with a little bit more information on psychology as a major.
When I hear students say that they're going to major in psychology, I always wonder, like, does everybody understand the different fields, the different areas, the different focuses than just psychology? But when you do study psychology, you're studying two important interconnected topics, like how the brain works, how it impacts human behavior, which in turn then affects every aspect of our daily life, but also in our jobs and in our careers that we choose. So we have critical thinking skills that we have. Individuals can eventually work in a variety of careers and settings, not just, clinical, educational, research, counseling, but IO, for example, is human resources and the business side of psychology. Even when we have auto techs taking our courses, they can learn many different skills to help them with customer service. So it's a nice jumping step into other fields. If you see the graph there, we look at counseling and health and school, educational, developmental, cognitive. So IO is listed there as well, social, personality. It really just it covers so much for so many, not just psychology. Scott is going to explain psychology as a major now.
Well, one of the things that we look at, just that first bullet point, how incredibly popular psychology is as a discipline. So when you look at the number of degrees conferred on an annual basis, psychology tends to be one of the more popular disciplines in colleges and universities across the country. And we also see the same thing here at Waubonsie. I know, something that I would just add to the material that's on this slide is, and it depends on what year it is, but psychology is usually considered either the second or the third most popular department in the college at Waubonsie, behind English and mathematics. And English and mathematics are required courses. So psychology is one of those disciplines that, other than the courses that are required to be able to obtain an associate's degree, psychology seems to be one of the more popular classes. I think a lot of it, and it ties into what Lisa just said, in the last slide, as to, kind of why people might want to take psychology. I know when I teach classes, a lot of times students are like, oh, I want to find out what's wrong with my parents, or I want to find out what's wrong with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, or I want to know what's wrong with me. And I'm like, well, please don't, come into these classes assuming that you're going to be able to do that. But it does provide a nice knowledge base for individuals to be well-rounded. So depending on, the courses that you take within our discipline, you're going to develop strong language skills, both, written and oral, whether that's having to do presentations, whether that's writing research papers, whether that's the conversations that we have when we do small group discussions in class. It's information gathering. So once again, if you're doing a research paper or you're doing a presentation and you have to gather your data and be able to synthesize that data and then present that data in, an appropriate fashion, as well as inter and intrapersonal skills, it gives us the opportunity to learn more about, the individuals that we see around us, as well as getting to know, a little bit better about ourselves. And then that last bullet point, the satisfaction that individuals have after they obtain a bachelor's degree in psychology, you're looking at approximately 70% of individuals that have said that if they had to do it all over again, they'd probably still major in psych. One of the caveats that would go along with that, though, is that people would probably supplement their psychology degree with some other, whether it's coursework or a second major or a minor. And part of that is just based on, once people start to work in the field of psychology and they realize that you're not going to set the world on fire financially as a psych, graduate. We are one of those degrees that, we tend to make a little bit more money when you get an advanced degree, but the bachelor's degree is that nice stepping stone to get your foot in the door. What it does when you look at obtaining, whether it's a second major or a minor or additional coursework, what that does for your degree in psychology is it just makes you a little bit more marketable when you're out heading into the workforce. And then I'll also just briefly talk about, some of the coursework that we offer in our discipline. So if you were to obtain your associate's degree in psychology, you're going to be completing 60 semester hours of coursework. I believe if you start to break that down, it's approximately 40 hours of, more generalized study, and then 20 hours of within discipline, coursework. And the courses that we offer, in our discipline here And there are actually two other courses that aren't listed on this slide, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But everybody's required, if you're going to be a psych major, you have to take Introduction to Psychology. That's one of the classes that all four of the full-time faculty, so there is a fourth member of our department that isn't a part of today's presentation, but all four of the full-time faculty are required to teach a couple of different sections of Introduction to Psychology. And then we start to get into that. That's the 100 level course that we offer. All of the other courses that we offer are 200 level courses. And then so things like child, adolescent, lifespan, and then if you look down toward the bottom at adulthood and aging, those are all of the courses that we offer that are part of, I guess if I would just call it the developmental package that we have. And the majority of those classes are taught by Lisa, as well as, three of the four of us full-timers teach lifespan development. Lifespan development is a required course for our nursing program. So we do tend to get, other than psych majors and a lot of times education majors, we do get a substantial amount of individuals that want to go into nursing or get involved in the medical field. We have a couple of courses that Heather teaches. She's our expert on social psychology, theories of personality, and then one of the courses that isn't listed there, industrial organizational psychology. So a lot of those courses are going to be directly related to how psychology works in societal settings, as well as industrial organizational being psychology of, the business world. One of the courses that is my area of expertise, and that's okay, Danny, we're good. One of my areas of expertise is abnormal psychology. Prior to beginning teaching full-time at Waubonsie in 2003, I spent close to 20 years as a clinician. So I've worked every level of care in substance abuse and mental health, inpatient, outpatient, residential. So I've got a wide, variety of experiences related to abnormal psychology. So abnormal psychology is the different mental illnesses that people might have, as well as the treatment opportunities for those mental illnesses. And then Heather and I we team teach the research methods class online once every 2 years. And that's for individuals that might want to go into more of academia, where they would need to have a background on research methodology. And then a final course that we offer that's also not listed on this slide is just called Special Topics in Psychology. And a lot of that would be if students just have areas of interest that might not fall into, the 9 or 10 courses that we traditionally offer. You do have the ability to come to any of your professors, have this conversation, and come up with either a 1, 2, or 3 credit course that would be an independent study that would be supported by that faculty member.
Okay, thank you. So one of the challenges that students often have when they decide that they want to major in psychology is, what should I take? What classes should I take? And when should I take them? And sometimes students know where they're going to transfer to, and other times they're not sure yet where they're going to transfer to. And so, especially for those who aren't sure, this transfer degree pathway was created to hopefully guide students through which classes they should take when. And there is some flexibility to this, but it does help give an idea. For example, your first semester that you would take Introduction to Psychology, because that's a prerequisite to any other psychology classes that you would take after that. And these are the courses that have been identified that are the most likely to transfer to most schools. But if you do know which school that you're transferring to, it's a good idea to start working with that school and our counselors and advisors as early as possible, because each school can be unique and there can be some individual differences among the schools. But if you're not sure, or you have a number of schools that you're thinking about transferring to, this is a great place to start. Also, if you can see, if you look at the next slide, we'll show you that there are transfer guides available for schools that we work with frequently. And these will do what I was just mentioning, tell you on a much more specific level exactly what transfers for that institution. And these are kept up to date as maybe there's changes made to their curriculum that matches up with ours. So you know which courses still count and will still transfer and transfer potentially as credit in that major. Obviously, a lot of the credits that you're taking at Waubonsee are what we sort of call gen ed credits. And so a lot of those things will be, incorporated in those different categories that they have off to the left. So, for example, social and behavioral sciences is what psychology falls under, but making sure that you have your math credits, your humanities credits, and also identifying which of those will best transfer at the different institutions, which there are some differences across those different schools. So it's trying to give you an idea of what those last 2 years would look like. And on the next slide, we have a list of which schools we have a lot of students transferring to, and we've established transfer guides to help students know what those courses are. So, for example, we have many students who go to Aurora University, many who go to Northern Illinois University. Many of their faculty are familiar with us, and so it makes that transition easy for students, easy for us to help you transition to these schools. But just because there isn't a transfer guide doesn't mean that your credits won't transfer. That's what that pathway was for, to help give you an idea. And then you could easily contact your transfer university to see how your specific credits from Waubonsee would transfer.
So when you look at further education career options after Waubonsee, you look at, when you say I have a psych degree, I want to have a psych degree, but you look at that individual bachelor's degree and finding employment in a variety of occupations. So a degree recipient's skills and abilities that are transferable to a number of different occupations. And we're going to talk about taking maybe that psych degree, but then, moving into human services counseling. My first master's degree is in human services counseling, and I used that for multiple years, working at a state mental health facility for 13 years. So I went to a community college for my associates. Then I went and got my bachelor's in psych, and then I moved to master's in human service counseling. So there's many avenues to work with that. They work very close together. I felt like for all of the degrees that I was prepared for many different leadership roles, and working in an agency in the police departments all throughout King County for almost 4 years with my master's in human services counseling. So you can focus on psychology, you can focus on human services at Waubonsee, and we'll get to that. But the best thing about that is you can have a CADC certification as a supplement to your degree from Waubonsee. It's an incredible program that we offer. So with a psych degree, you can do school counseling, you get your master's in human services counseling, and then you can transfer to another university, and you have this great background from the 2-year. And that's exactly how I did it. I had psych as my bachelor's, and it really prepared me to move forward into both my master's degree and my doctorate. Licensed professional counselor, from moving from bachelor's to master's in human services, and LPC, that's a licensed professional counselor, and LCPC is a licensed clinical professional counselor. And like I said, which we'll talk about a little bit more, is the CADC certification as a supplement to the degree. Psych as a major really prepares you for more than just psych.
So then some of the tips to look at in regards to getting a job with a bachelor's degree in psychology. That first one, it's a no-brainer. Do the best you can. Both of my kids are in their mid-20s at this point in time. And when I talk to them from the time they started high school, and I said, look, all of this stuff is important, so do as well as you can in high school, because that's what colleges are going to be looking at. It's the same concept in college. It's do the best you're capable of in regards to your college courses, because as you finish school, that's going to be some of the stuff that perhaps employers are going to be looking at is, how well did you do in school? Pick the courses and the electives that support the type of work that you want to do. So when when all three of us, Heather and Lisa and I, talked about some of our, areas of focus or our areas of expertise, same thing. There's different areas that you can go into in psych as a discipline. And, for some of us, we move in the direction of mental health work, human services, doing, substance abuse counseling, working with individuals that are developmentally disabled. That's just one pathway. You have the option of, whether it's business, marketing, economics, working in industry, working in sales. Or if you want to be, I'll use the term, for my students, if you want to get involved in research and you want to be called an academia nut, it's, you head in that direction where you're going to be doing a lot of research-based work. And that usually may help guide you towards the advanced degree, especially doing doctoral work. One of the slides that I talked about earlier, the idea of supplementing, your courses with, whether it's, several, types of courses or obtaining a minor, getting a second major. I know when I was doing my bachelor's degree, in psych, I initially was planning on going into medicine. And so being pre-med did not pan out. And I decided, well, I could go into psych. I'd be able to still help people. And when I realized I probably needed to do more, I made the decision to double major in psychology and secondary education. So if I wanted, rather than going straight into psych, I could have taught psychology at a high school or at a middle school. So whether it's double majoring, having a minor, definitely considering some type of independent study, internship, or research opportunity. We may not have tons of research opportunities at Waubonsie as a community college. However, we do have the opportunity to talk to other areas within the college, to talk about any internship opportunities that might be coming up. Heather and Lisa and I will regularly get emails from the college saying that there are internship opportunities that are available for certain, disciplines, and they'll forward it to us if psychology or human services is one of those areas. The independent study option, I think, is also wonderful. I did an opportunity with a student a couple of years ago, and she wanted to get involved in research, but wanted to do research with animals. So she and I developed a 3-credit course together specifically related to animals and their behavior. And she had previously done some volunteer work at Phillips Park Zoo, and she was able to turn the connections that she had at Phillips Park Zoo into being able to do some of her research. And she actually helped to train the river otters that they have there to prepare for veterinary exams. So we were able to apply some of the material from very basic intro psych stuff into an independent study opportunity, which apparently has then led her into a career. Participate in organizations. And Heather and Lisa and I are the advisors for 2 organizations on campus that run concurrently. It's Psychology Club and Psi Beta. Psi Beta is the honors organization for psychology at 2-year institutions. And Psychology Club is for individuals that may not meet the academic rigors to get into Psi Beta. And we look at it as kind of like a farm system or a feeder organization for Psi Beta. And it's just individuals that are interested in psychology as a discipline. And then it's also, you want to use the Career Center, you want to use all of the options that Waubonsie has available to you that Danny was talking about at the beginning of today's presentation, as well as use us as faculty. For whatever reason, students get nervous around faculty. I know when I'll sit in my office for office hours and you don't see a whole lot of students that come by, and I'm always thinking, am I really that imposing of a presence that nobody wants to come in? I don't think I am. We're friendly. We're like regular people. We do stuff on the weekends that most other people do. We don't just hang ourselves up on a hook and wait till Monday to start lecturing again. So come and talk to us, whether it's related to information in the classes that you're taking with us that you might not understand and you want a little bit more one-on-one attention, whether it's finding out about getting involved in some of these organizations like Psych Club and Psi Beta, or if it's, that you just need a letter of recommendation to get into a school and we know who you are and we've worked with you, we'd be more than happy to write those letters and to help guide you and mentor you in whatever directions we can.
Just to tag on quickly to Scott's examples, Lisa had shared her pathway and Scott his. My background was I started out as a business major. And so I was accounting and business, potentially majoring in both of those, changed to business. But then I took my introduction to psychology class and started enjoying my psychology classes so much, became a psychology minor that eventually turned into a psychology major, which then turned into me pursuing eventually my master's in industrial organizational psychology and my PhD, my doctorate in industrial organizational psychology. And at the time, I didn't even know that there was a combination of psychology and business. And so it was great. So many of the tips on the list, really, if you do follow those and allow yourself to take some of those courses that maybe you hadn't intended on taking, or you weren't sure, or you decided to try those different classes for those different areas in psychology, you might be surprised at what you find that you're really interested in. And the other great thing that I know both Lisa and Scott and myself all emphasize, when and where possible, if you can, get that experience outside of the classroom. We often have opportunities that we bring to students. We help with the call center and send students to do some of that work. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to do internships for United Airlines and McDonald's Corporation, both locally in the Chicago area, which helped me realize I did really enjoy that work. I enjoyed teaching more, so I did end up ultimately becoming a professor. But that internship work and the real world work experiences really were beneficial to me in helping make those choices and make those decisions. So if you feel like you're struggling, that might be a good way to help you really realize. And we've had a lot of students who do those internship type activities come back, and now they're even more sure that they want to major in psychology. And it gives them the momentum they need to finish their 4-year degree and then their master's and beyond.
And so with that said, I'm not Mike Moran. Mike Moran is the head of the program. He is an incredible person. He works very closely with internships, getting internships and getting that human services degree. Human services professionals become vital counselors and confidants for youth and adults in a variety of settings. From community organizations and schools, government agencies, healthcare facilities, and the list goes on and on. That is where, lots of my experience came from, paid internship. I was very fortunate. Mike right there, and I like that we have his picture there. Why study human services? The expert instructors, Mike was one of them, ensure that the students are prepared for employment. It's very hands-on. He works very close with each student. There are opportunities for on-site experiences at local agencies for human services to get that hands-on, experience. Many, if not all of the students I've met, taking psych classes and some other different classes, and it really is an incredible program that we offer. Mike wanted to make sure that you see that it's an associate in applied science degree, human services. You can still have, psych classes within that, but the human services program and department has certifications of achievement, like an addiction counselor. The CADC is something that you can walk away with from Waubonsee. That's alcohol and drug counseling. An accredited counseling training program prepares those students for those careers in Illinois. And Mike is a perfect person to help a student excel through that program.
Okay, so now what we're actually going to do is we're going to show you guys a quick video. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen, switch over to the video, and that'll explain a little bit more to everyone. So I'll go ahead and share that now.
Human services is really about the practice of helping people, improving their quality of life, and ideally helping them address anything that's getting in the way of that quality of life.
So people who enter to pursue a degree in human services are doing that because they want to at some point be able to help other people as a counselor, as a clinician, as a caseworker.
It's not uncommon for people with backgrounds in human services to work in the medical field, in hospitals, in behavioral health, working with individuals with both mental health and substance use disorder issues. You also may see individuals with human service backgrounds in the criminal justice system, working with probation or social services like DCFS.
We have several different options. The most popular option is the Associates in Applied Sciences, or the AAS degree. We happen to have an accreditation from the Illinois Certification Board as a substance abuse counselor training program.
There are not many schools that provide the accredited program for the CADC, which is Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor certification. And this school does, so I was recommended to come here.
We also have some students who come to us, they've already completed their degree in human services before they got here, so they take a smaller number of courses to obtain their CADC in what we call our post-baccalaureate program. So 3 different options, but ultimately they all help prepare you to enter the field of human services.
I was glad I came here because of how supportive the staff have been of me, and they've really helped me through. And like I said, I've been through some really bad times since I've been in school, but always stayed on top of my schoolwork because I always had teachers and the instructors kind of backing me and the counselors helping me as well, just to make sure, pretty much to make sure you succeed.
We have smaller classes. We really have a lot of contact between students and the instructor. Part of the benefit of having smaller classes is that we really can create a pretty comfortable learning environment. We know that coming back to school can be challenging. We also know that at times people can feel intimidated when they're in large classrooms and really in a personal environment. You won't have that here at Waubonsee. You really get to know your instructor and your classmates very well. We also then integrate some realistic learning experiences into the classroom. So we will talk about things like assessment and diagnosis, but we use case studies, we use in-class activities, we use in-class experiential activities to let people do that in class. We really try to keep it a small, comfortable environment. We really emphasize the relationship between the instructors and the students, and between the students and each other.
I think Waubonsee does 2 things very, very well, which sets them apart from other academic institutions. One of those is collaboration. The staff at Waubonsee philosophically very much are in line with what I would consider best practices or evidence-based practices, cutting edge in terms of being ahead of or understanding the research. And so the students we get are more than ready to tackle the challenges in front of them and working with clients with mental health and substance use disorders. I think Waubonsee is really, top notch when it comes to bringing students into the field that are prepared to do what is required of them to be successful in these jobs.
Okay. So as you guys can see here, we also have the information for Michael Moran, one of the instructors for human services. I'll go ahead and leave that up for a minute or two just so you guys can write it down in case you have any questions. You can always send him an email. And then that link at the very bottom is also the link for a human services page on our main Waubonsee website. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on. So now we're just going to cover some general information that's pretty useful for anyone looking to start taking classes with us here at Waubonsee. So first, I'll go ahead and cover some information for anyone who's looking to register for our summer 2021 semester. Registration is currently open for that semester. You can register for classes both online or in person if you want to make an appointment with either an admissions or academic advisor or counselor to get a little bit of extra help registering for classes. That is an option. For the summer, we do have classes beginning on May 24th, but there are some other classes that can begin in July or even June as well. And those are some of our more condensed classes. And then the last thing is just that summer is a great time to start getting ahead and getting used to some college courses, so getting a bit of a head start. Registration for the fall semester, on the other hand, actually opens May 3rd at 8 a.m. So that would be this coming up Monday. You can also register for that online or in person. And the one thing that we do like to tell students is that it's recommended that you do register for those fall classes pretty early on, as classes do tend to fill up pretty quickly. Some of our general education classes, you might have quite a few sections available, but what might fill up might be that in-person section that you're looking for, or that Sync Online section. So the earlier that you do get started in that registration process, the better. And then the last thing, fall semester does begin August 23rd. So that would be the first day of classes for the fall. All right, so right here, what you guys can see is just some more information on whether you want to learn any more or if you want to go ahead and get started. So the first one is just the Career Coach tool and career exploration link. If you guys actually go to that page, you'll see a few different resources to help you guys explore different careers. And then the second two things you'll see are the contact information for both academic and career advising and for the admissions office. So anybody who has previous college credits should begin working with academic and career advising. You can schedule an appointment with them, both virtual or in person, by giving them a call at that number listed. And then anyone who does not have previous college credits, this is their first time starting off, would come to admissions. You can also schedule either an in-person or virtual appointment with any of our admissions advisors by giving that phone number a call. And then the last link we have listed is just for more financial aid information. But if you just want to make an appointment with an advisor and just get more information, feel free to give those numbers a call, and we can always point you in the right direction for all of those resources. All right, so what to do next if you are interested in getting started? So what we normally recommend as the very first step is actually to visit our waubonsee.edu/steps website. That pretty much gives you a very good overview of what you would have to complete, what your admission steps would be in order to actually be able to register for your classes. We also recommend that you fill out FAFSA. And that you include Waubonsee as the school that you're planning to attend to in that FAFSA form, so that we can go ahead and get that information in the system. Submit a new student application as well. So that is completely free. There's no obligation to filling out the application, and it takes about 15 minutes to complete. And that's every student's first step to getting started. Usually we like to have students fill out the application so we can have an advisor assigned to them who would be able to guide them every step of the way through the admissions process. Once you fill out that new student application, we will start to follow up with you, send you reminders, give you calls to answer any types of questions, and obviously we would always be available for appointments if needed. All right, so now we have some time for questions. There are a few links at the bottom where you can get more information on some of the things we just talked about. Thank you everyone for joining us. You do have at the very bottom everyone who participated in the presentation and contact information. If you guys have any questions, you want to reach out to us directly, that would be the best way. I'll go ahead and stop sharing the presentation and send that link to the video. And then I'll also include my email on there just in case you guys wanted to get in touch directly with me.